I think when she saw the interviews, she saw
her son on CNN.
I was like, she literally doesn't know anyone who's ever been on CNN. I was like, her son who she was thinking is gonna be like ruined for life is on there. Like from then on, she was like, you know what? You have my blessing. Do whatever it is.
Thank you, Makmende.
Go for it.
There's a song that was released.
I haven't come to that yet.
Oh, the time hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, the time has come.
It's come and passed.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So remember how I told you that there were some special things going on? One of the special things that happened when I left, when I was still in the States, was the coming up of this band. One of the members of this band was this Form 1 who came and taught us this song in high school, Blinky Selanga. Man, I told that part of the story hours ago. And Blinky had started a band with 2 other people. One of them was called Jim and the other one was called Dan. Now Jim I had met only once before, except I realized I had not met him that one time before. I'd had a meeting with him. He wanted to join the ad industry. He was asking, if there's any advice or whatever. And he ended up not joining, which I think was an excellent idea. But then it turned out that I had gone to the same high school as this dude. And he was part of Blinky's class. So he's one of those guys who something special was happening in terms of his artistic journey. We just didn't know that just yet. So Blinky and Jim were in the same class. I think even in the same house.
Blinky and Bill.
Blinky and
Jim or Blinky and Dan?
Blinky and Jim.
Jim Chuchu?
Yeah.
Oh.
So 2/3 of Just a Band went to Changes. At least 2/3 at that point. And then Dan had, I've forgotten what school he'd gone to. So they'd released an album called Scratch to Reveal. And by the time I was coming back to Kenya, they were just getting ready to release their second album, which was called 82. And one of the songs on that album was called Hahe. And they're in the process of shooting a video. Now what they'd imagined for that
which
video...
again was produced by?
Hahe was produced by Musyoka, who was also a Nigerian. There we go. So there was this sort of this dude funny. from class of one guy was 2 years behind me, and one guy was 3 years behind me, coming together and making this song.
Then at the same time I did that time I'm in between producing P-Unit. So we did this one. This was song was for P-Unit.
Yeah.
Microphone check 1 1 2.
So what's the story behind?
So as we are working with P-Unit's album, I do this track. I remember I was in a matatu leaving a center. I'd left my car at my mom's place, so I was like, let me just jab. So I enter a matatu, then this melody just came. So I recorded it on the phone. So I go back to the studio. Then
how did it come? Like what did it sound like?
Just the way it is. To 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 dum 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 dum. So I got in the studio quickly, like about 10 minutes later. It wasn't far. So I just played it on the keyboard and stored it. Then the following day I came and now started fleshing it out and adding things here. Then I just mixed Scratch to Reveal for Just a Band the previous year. So there's a project Coca-Cola had signed on P-Unit to do. So I was thinking that I could give them this track for that project. But even the project, I mean, we never finalized it. I think it was dropped at some point. So this track just sat and it already had the chorus. I'd recorded the chorus, I'd recorded everything. So one day I'm just chatting with Billy. He's like, yeah, we're about to finish our album. So yeah, we'll bring for you to finish for us some songs. I'm like, I think I have the perfect song. Because I was like, when the drum pattern I did for this track, I was like, there's no way this song fits P-Unit. It doesn't have the P-Unit personality. So I gave it to them and Bill went and did his stuff onto it. Then Jim and Bithi conceptualized the video with Dan, and as they say, the rest is history.
82 had saved, the first song on it was, on the album was Save My Soul, the second was Hahe. So Musyoka now comes full circle
back.
again. It's like, bro, I listened to the project you guys, the first album, but I think I have a song that can like bring it home. Then he came with the beat to the house and he played it for me. I was like, of course, yata to be shani now. So he left it. Then I was like, you know what? Actually, it is right, because me, I'm like, I grew up in Isli. I'm more, in as much as I'm out there, but I'm also very grounded in here. And that sometimes used to be my role as well, is to figure out how to bring things home.
Yes, I hear you.
Because sometimes the ideas could
You
be
guys were in the sky.
you're in the sky. So it's like, oh, okay. But ultimately, that it's always the big thing where I always want to be in the sky, but I'm also very interested in connection. How do I talk to you?
Yeah.
How do I make sure that you've heard me and where I'm coming from? So
It's like putting a rope
Yeah.
so that guys can still, even though they can come to the sky,
Exactly.
giving them access to come to where you are.
yeah. So we used to live around Adams, and I used to go to Toi a lot just to walk. So I literally never wrote those lyrics down. I was just like, as I'm walking, I'm writing in my head, Kiwasha nari, madari, taonja vibari. It's like, it's very street.
Oh,
Yeah.
so hold on. Musyoka brought you just the ha hey, just the chorus.
Nini had the chorus,
Oh,
but the
verses. Okay.
was me.
Oh, nice.
But I was like, I don't even know what I want to say on this song, but I want it to be like, when you hear it, it like gives you energy, because that's the vibe I got from the beat. I was like, as soon as he played it, and that's like big credit to Musyoka, because he knows. He's a very almost like, people call him the Dr. Dre of Nini, but it is, I feel like that's a very good comparison in a sense, because Dr. Dre will make beats for Eminem, will make beats for Tupac, will make beats for Snoop,
Gaga.
will make beats for Gaga, will make beats for Mary J. Blige, and they all fit the vibe of this person. So I'm not sounding like P Unit, I'm not sounding like Nonini, I'm not sounding like, he says that he gave it to P Unit and they were like, this it's not ours.
Yeah.
But me, as soon as I heard it, I was like, yes, this is it. We recorded it.
So Kiwasha nare
madari taonja vibare misinate sibabi nko tu katikati sitaki kusikiza stories za charity nipe wings need fire gravity. Yeah, so it's like also it's literally everything. Misinate misibabi nko tu katikati. As like, that's the perfect descriptions. Like, I'll go anywhere and I can fit in. Sometimes people can, and that's what I always wanted to feel with Jab, is like, we don't have to be anything we are not.
So they had some ideas for a music video, and what they had in mind for the video itself was, we're going to shoot something whose production value looks low, and it's going to be intentional. They ended up using that idea for another song later on. But about a week, probably 2 weeks before shooting the video, they came across a trailer for a film called Black Dynamite. And Black Dynamite was an homage to, like, a tribute to blaxploitation flicks from the 70s, where people had afros and they were in stories with over-the-top action, and again, the production values weren't that high. They didn't have very good actors, so you'd go after a kung fu master who had never acted a day in their life and make that person the star of your film. And blaxploitation came and went, but someone was like, why don't we bring blaxploitation back with this film called Black Dynamite? Jim and Mithi saw that trailer and they were like, we're going to make a Black Dynamite. We're going to make a Kenyan Black Dynamite. We're going to make something that is in the same line as blaxploitation flicks from the 70s, except we're going to have a Kenyan hero. And that hero is going to be called Makmende. And in their criteria, who they were going to go and cast, they were like, why don't you cast someone who has long hair? Someone who has an afro, someone who would be convincing in this role. And someone who could actually be charming and put on a good performance. And so naturally, they picked K1. We shot that music video over the course of one day, sometime in April of 2010. April, May, March of 2010. And you probably would agree with me on this one. But if there's one thing about generating content and making art, you never know what the reaction is going to be. You make something that you think was going to be the best work of art and it's going to bomb. And you'll make something that you'll think, this is going to be passable, and then you realize you were sitting on gold the whole time. Makmende Hahe was the latter. It was gold.
The video. First of all, it's a shoestring budget.
Exactly. So we were on this label called Penya.
Oh, you got signed to Penya?
Yeah, so Penya had Sauti
Sol,
Sol, Just a Band, Modoni.
Rewind selector, tell us about getting signed first.
So, Ninka, who started Penya, had done one of my favorite records, like the Ukoflani
Yes.
Mau Mau project, Kilio cha Haki.
Yep. And she's from, just give us a bit of a background for Ninka.
Ninka,
industry cats know her, maybe not.
Yeah, Ninka, she's this lady from Holland. And she lived here in Nairobi for a while. And she was working on like music ideas. So she did, what's it called? She was part of the guys who did the
Ukoflani, yeah. Kilio cha Haki, yeah.
So you listen to that project, which is one of my favorite Kenyan projects.
And had Msioka as well.
It did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And production.
Oh. So, hey, Musioka has lived many lives, my God. But yeah, so listen, like they did that project, and we love the packaging. We are also like, because it's a group of designers as well. It's like me, that packaging sold me for the Kilio cha Haki album.
Yeah,
that's one of the best album packages I've seen in this country. And so we were about to sign a deal with someone, and then Ninka heard about it, and she was like, nah.
Who are you going to sign a deal with?
I can't say.
Okay.
But it was like, no. You can't do that. Let's work with you. Like we can help distribute this project. We'll try to look for partners who will push the next project to a bigger audience. And so she went to sell the idea to some places, and she got this guy in the US who had an African label. It's called Aquaba Music. It's based in Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah. So the guy had the album and was like, of course I want to put this out. So they went and printed. We did the album.
So what you got was a distribution deal?
We got a distribution deal.
Oh, okay.
So we went and got the album, and it's funny, like, man, we were so excited to just see the album on proper packaging. packaging.
That's right.
Packaging. Yeah. So I think Sauti were touring in Holland back then, and they helped.
So under Penya now was Sauti Sol,
Mudhoni, Della, Stan.
and just a band.
And then they went, when they were coming back, they brought a bunch of CDs for us to sell. So it's funny, like Sauti Soul brought just a band albums. Yeah. And so we were able to have like what we felt was like next level packaging for this project that we really put our everything into.
Yeah. So by this we're talking about the CD covers, shrink wrap, proper, even the CD itself,
exactly.
even in the printing
In a
itself, an inlay which had pages.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, no, the 82 album looked good.
Hey, it looked good. And then we launched the album, and then we were like, okay, the next single we're gonna drop is Hey. So one day I'm walking back to the house where we used to live, and I had one of the kids saying, unajiona Makmende? Then, but that I also know it from a different generation. So I started using that word in the house. Be like, Makmende. Then so it was like in the house, just in our vocabulary. And then when we decided to make the album, we're like, let's tell our friends to dress like 70s, and we have a script, and the video was just gonna be K1 as Makmende just beating everyone.
Yes.
And it's like we created like a movie. So our friends came out, like, and I think what we had a budget for was lunch. Like budget.
In fact, I say that video is just the band featuring the Bapo click. Because of course of BT's influence.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of ideas were coming as we are doing it. So you can see.
Whoa, as you're doing.
Yeah. So it's like, beating this Nini. Then it's like, that makes sense.
So beat Kibugi first.
Yeah, beat Kibugi first when he's coming for, and that literally was our house. We used to live there. So Kibugi is coming from the house, walking in his 70s, like it feels like a drug dealer look. Then Makmende comes out and slaps him. Pow! Pow! Sema, you happy? Then he points. And then everyone was gonna be pointing to whoever, the main guy who we're trying to get to establish the big fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, this was just like...
So who's shooting? Who's holding the camera this time?
It was Jim and Biti. So we were just like doing like... Actually, because eventually Mbiti had to act, so it was Jim shooting. But then... Yeah, it's like...
Mugambi is there being
Mugambi
beaten.
is there. He was trying to talk to a chick.
Patricia Kiharu is the one who was being...
Yeah, it's like Patricia was like Nani's chick. K1's...
No, she's always been kidnapped.
Yeah. I need to watch that video again. It's been a while. But, so... If we shoot it and we felt so good about it, and then we put it down and like, a lot of things in post just to make it like popping. And I think at the time was that Finger of God Ministries, so there's like that reference. There's Nyoyona Uji, it's in there somewhere. And it was such a fun video. Then the last night, we went to another media station to launch it, and then we went in and walked out. And then we were walking to the house because I think it was Citizen, which was close to our house. So we went to do the interview and walked home.
About 3 days to the launch of the video, which was a couple of weeks after we shot it. By this point, I had a job because we shot the video for Hahe, I think, when I was a week away from starting my new job.
Which was back at Ogilvy.
Which was not Ogilvy, but at Scanad, at Scan Group.
Yeah.
I hated that job. I hated it. It was miserable. Hated it. The video comes out, and we had all these plans for it. We talked about how we were probably gonna we said about how all of us were going to change our profile pictures to screenshot with the words "Who is Makmende?" and everyone was going to be like, yeah, why have a bunch of people put this picture? And we were like, back then you could still change your name on Facebook quite easily. I don't know about now.
You can't.
You can't change your name. Yeah, you could change your name anytime. If you decided my name is this, you could change it. And we were asked, please change your name to put Makmende as your middle name. So there's a bunch of people who either put this picture as their profile, and then another bunch of people who put Makmende in their name. And then we released the video.
By Gioni. Like, things were on fire. And we're just like, what the hell is happening? Like, everyone is calling us, talking about it. It's like, this video. It's like, what? Like, everyone's making me. No, actually, so then before it came out,
yes,
we made some of the first memes. We made Makmende as on the cover of Time magazine, and it's like, who is Makmende? I put it there on our Facebook page. So
you asked guys to change their profile photos.
Yeah. So yeah, I forget a bunch of things. Maybe this is now why someone else will give me perspective on it. But I'm saying as I remember.
No, yeah.
I'd even forgotten that for asking people to change. But those kinds of things, like, everyone is now curious, who is Makmende? That's on the cover of Time magazine. I'm like, oh, okay. Then when the Nini came, by the evening, everyone's talking about it. The next day, it's just gone crazy like bushfire. And it's just the three of us, the four of us.
The 4 of you, yes, because Biddy is now part of it.
He's a part of it, but he wasn't living with us. So
yeah.
We're just like, what is going on? And it's like, the next thing we know, we have CNN in our living room asking us questions about this video. I'm like, what did we do?
It's just called rehab, right?
The rep wouldn't specify, right? But
Gotcha.
okay,
now speculate. Okay, clearly he's got his work cut out for him, right?
Yeah, a lot of work.
But what is this video you're telling me I just need to see?
Yeah, this is going to make your day.
Okay, I need it.
Okay,
Yeah.
you do know that reference when Dirty Harry meets Shaft in Kenya. This becomes the country's first viral sensation from Kenya. Here's CNN's David McKenzie.
He's a cool cat. He's part Shaft, part Superman, all Kenyan. Meet Makmende, Kenya's first viral internet sensation. It's the brainchild of 20-somethings Blinky Bill, Jim Choo Choo, and Daniel Mooley. They formed the group Just a Band. And they put their latest video on YouTube as a tease campaign. It's had tens of thousands of hits and counting.
Then we start getting calls like, what have you guys done? Do you know what you guys have done? And then we went on Twitter, and like, it's like things are just, for like 3 days, we were just dazed.
50 Makmende mentions per second or something on Twitter.
And it's not just the videos. There's the cleverly faked GQ, Esquire, and Time Magazine Man of the Year covers, the Makmende websites, and the jokes like Makmende doesn't cheat death, he wins fair and square. It's all possible because Kenya is probably more wired than you think. A state-of-the-art fiber optic link recently arrived. Mobile internet is simple, and internet cafes always packed. While the Makmende craze is driven by the internet, it's actually old school, an early 90s term used to describe a kid who's acting like a superhero. It's actually even more old school, starting with 1983's Dirty Harry Sudden Impact, when Clint Eastwood delivered the famous lines,
Go ahead, make my day.
Make My Day became Makmende in Kenya's Sheng slang, and a tough guy hero was born. A hero that was revived by a creative group of guys who write all their songs, shoot and edit all of their videos, and use the internet to bring people together.
And wherever people are, it's like we all share the same memories from like a few years ago. Like that everybody is kind of linked by these common experiences that we all had.
Dave McKenzie, CNN, Nairobi, Kenya.
And then something happened. Suddenly, I can't tell you before then if there was something in Kenya that had ever gone truly viral.
I agree.
I can't tell you for a fact that there's anything at all that actually went viral.
Yeah.
Because viral still wasn't a thing. We used to call viral something that was going to be released online. We didn't even know the meaning of the word.
Yep.
Like if it's going to be on YouTube, then it must be viral. No, that's not the definition. But this thing just went viral. People started talking about it on Twitter. People started posting the link everywhere. And by morning of the next day, it had been watched by probably a couple thousand people. And we were like, what's happening? This thing became a media sensation.
It became insane.
It was crazy. I had a tiny role in it as someone who gets punched around a bit. And what we thought we were doing was just shooting this fun little video. And then it took a life on its own and became this staggering piece of... People are approaching it in different ways. It was a piece of art, it was a fun little video, it was a definition of what it was like to be a child in Kenya. It took this phrase, Makmende, this word that people had not used in a long time, and it introduced Kenyans to a superhero, an action hero, Makmende. I don't like to dwell very much on the result of it, because after we were published in the Wall Street Journal and on CNN.
You were on CNN?
Yeah.
The guys were interviewed on CNN.
The guys were interviewed on CNN. It was pretty cool. K1 featured on pretty much every single newspaper. He was talked about on every single social media platform. People started posting videos of I saw Makmende and took out my phone and started filming. Some of them might still be there. Makmende sighted or something like that. And at the top of all this was a video. This video that people just kept going back to and watching over and over again. And which started playing on Kenyan television and started playing on international television. It was crazy. Crazy.
It's like, I think my folks were very upset at the decision that I'd made to become a musician, because they felt that what I wanted to do was waste my life away. It was more, they're like, he's too smart. The concept of a musician was me playing in bars, because that's what they
knew. Yeah.
That if you're an artist, the most an artist can ever be is that you'll be playing and entertaining people in bars. And my mom was literally heartbroken. First he's dropped out, then now he's gonna be playing bars. Bars! Oh Lord, what did we do? Then I think when she saw the interviews, she saw
her son on CNN.
I was like, she literally doesn't know anyone who's ever been on CNN. I was like, her son who she was thinking is gonna be like ruined for life is on there. Like from then on, she was like, you know what? You have my blessing. Do whatever it is.
Thank you, Makmende.
Go for it.
Now the thing about something like that, when it's crazy, people expect that you'll have sat with it and that it was intentional for you to make this thing that was going to blow up, and you sort of knew that it was going to happen. And so they come to you and you're like, how do you feel, man? This thing's amazing. How do you feel? And we're like, I don't know what to feel. We feel happy. But you know, it's a video that we made. It's cool. And people would stop you and be like, when you left South Makmende? And anytime I walked with K1, K1 was known everywhere. There is not a single place he'd go to. That dude could go to the most obscure part of Nairobi, or he could decide to walk through Parliament, or he could decide to walk through Tao, or he could go to a club somewhere, and everywhere someone would recognize him. Everyone was talking about Makmende. In fact, even political analysts were like, this is why Kenya needs an actual Makmende. It was stuff like that. He showed up on cartoons. There was a time there was a cartoon, a political cartoon, and he showed up on that. His likeness was drawn all over. He ended up on t-shirts that were being sold at Masai Market.
Capital FM, remember?
Yeah, that came a bit later on.
Okay.
There was one more. The guys from Just a Band made these funny, they called K1 in and they were like, yo, this thing looks like it's going to be big. Let's do a voice. Let's do a photography. Let's do a photo shoot right now. So they put him in the same costume, and then they had the tie that he tied around his head. This red tie became something of an icon, which was not what we expected again. And there was a Time magazine cover, Newsweek magazine cover with these different pictures. And these pictures of Makmende went viral. Again, pictures went viral. And this is when I'm telling you, I was walking through Masai Market and I saw a t-shirt with Makmende on it. And I think he ended up on a couple of matatus, maybe, I think. Anyway, Makmende infiltrated pop culture. There's one more thing that infiltrated pop culture like that, but Makmende there's nothing that has done it quite like Makmende, and I don't think there's anything since, to be honest with you. I might be wrong on this, but that went truly viral and ended up embedded in pop culture, and it was a lasting thing. It ended up playing out for much longer.
Yeah. The closest that I can think that has happened again is maybe Githeri Man.
Yeah, probably. But you see, that didn't last very long.
Yes, it didn't last very long.
And you know, Githeri Man, yes, was a viral sensation. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Yeah, Githeri Man was a viral sensation, but it wasn't the kind of viral sensation that had a sort of... It didn't set the pace for anything.
Yeah.
It didn't lead to anything. In fact, Githeri Man was part of a sham election. And he was part of the sham of the election because suddenly we were focusing not on the irregularities that were happening, but rather on this dude that happened to show up for election carrying Githeri in his bag, in a bag. On the other hand, he started being hailed as a peace hero and proof that Kenyan democracy works. And what? A lot of nonsense, man. But Makmende was truly ours. That's what we felt. And then we started to realize that you'll put it out there and it'll really not be yours. As long as other people have said, I like this, it's theirs.
And I think there's always the conversation that the song was bigger than the video. No, the video
is bigger than the song.
And I disagree with that completely because that's someone who does not understand the relation between
song and video.
Mm-hmm. Because you replace that song with any other song,
it won't be the same.
You don't get it. And also there's like, you guys should, there's a bunch of people coming at us as you guys have wasted Anini, this idea. I'm like, think about it. We've come up with what could potentially be a superhero on the level of anyone, like global standards. The best idea someone was coming to us with was Makmende teaching kids how to wash hands with soap. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? It's like this, yes, it'll make us money, but we're not from that school of thought.
Yep.
And as like, I used to get so upset with people telling us you've wasted this idea, or trying to get us to make this as the basis of
your next
of our
your
next
life.
of our life. Like, fam, bro, right now I'm like, even till today I have so many different ideas that I'm working on and living with, and I'm so glad that we did not buckle and be like, okay, let's give Makmende ideas for washing, like, just very common things, taken from that universe, which could be a movie franchise, and take this concept and trivialize it for fast
for revenue gain. That's
revenue gain.
So at this time I remember coming to you because I was coming to get this video from you so I could give it to Pinye so he could play it on the beats.
Yeah.
So because I mean this madness had happened.
Yeah.
And this madness, we had not seen it before. There was no one we could look back and say, this is like this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, of course, from our limited perspective, we are seeing financial opportunities. And I remember having a conversation with you, sort of just to share digital insights and just say, this is what you guys can do from a digital perspective to give this thing more traction. But then after that, I remember taking a back seat and just watching.
Yeah.
And then much later talking to K1 and him explaining about this whole period of time and what I mean, because it changed his life. I mean, you know, like, this a guy who's catching mats and now you can't even catch mats because of this pressure, this madness. The place where I got upset was at the Groove Awards when Chris Kirubi came with a tie on his head and tried to
be
to thingy. I actually got upset because I'm like, now this is jacking this idea.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this era, because what happens, Makmende blows up, the whole country is whatever talking about Makmende. The memes have started, the Chuck Norris versus Makmende things have come out. But then there's this thing that happens that I'm like, this looks like a partnership deal that is going somewhere. Capital FM. What happened there?
Oh yeah.
And you let them do with it what they will. If they love you one day and hate you the next day, which is what happened when now we went on Capital FM and tried to orchestrate this stunt that they were going to launch a new breakfast show with If D'Souza and Gaetano, and the story was going to be that they were kidnapped. And I remember we put... Gaetano was one of the morning presenters and suddenly he wasn't presenting. And people tried to start this hashtag of Gaetano missing. And a radio station had tried that stunt before, where a radio presenter had gone missing. And that was Kiss FM. And it was for the launch of Pilsner Ice, I think. And they were talking about Caroline Mutoko has been kidnapped, and they even went to the extent of talking about making calls with her. What's the room you're in like? And she says, I don't know, it's dark and cold. They covered my head as I was coming here. They covered my eyes so I couldn't see. I was blindfolded. I've been gagged and I've been here. And please, if there's any way I can be rescued, please come. And then when people realized it was a cheap publicity stunt, they were really mad. So for some reason, I don't know why no one raised the flag and thought, hey, your Capital, another station decided to do this, and it was a big mistake. And they went through with it. Of course it didn't work. People reacted negatively. And as much as they loved the videos that were releasing, the videos sort of got, the videos releasing where we were talking about, you know, I have my character, Taste of Danger, was the one who had them kidnapped. And Makmende came and punched all my henchmen. I ran away, and then...
Was that a paid for endorsement?
Yeah, it was. It was a paid endorsement. Oh, yes. Wow. Eve in the flesh, huh? So, let's do this nicely. Now look at me.
What do you want?
How about you tell me where that tie is, babe?
A tie? I don't know about any tie.
You're not going to comply, you know. Tell me what I want to hear. I'll make this loser here speak. And I don't think you're going to like that very much. So make this easy on yourself. Just tell me where that tie is.
I don't know. I don't know about any tie.
Surprised to see me, Gaetano? You came all the way from Kampala to meet me in the flesh. Taste of danger. Now, tell me where the tie is. Tell me where the tie is.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Where's the tie, man? Listen. Your lucky Eve is here. Because I will kick your right? I will kick your You hear me, man? Where's the tie? You know what? No more Mr. Nice Taste of Danger. Take care of him. Give me that watch, man. Why are you making this stuff for me? Eve, close your eyes, you don't want to see this. We have ways of making you talk, man. I gotta talk now! Huh? Will you talk now? Who the f is that? Get it off!
Like, of all of the ninis, of all of the ideas that we came, because we were adamant that we're not taking Makmende from that universe into something that is bullshit.
Yes.
So, like that in term, but also we still needed to make money.
Yeah.
So and this was like our first big thing that it was overwhelming. So we did the nini. I don't even remember but we had a story where Makmende was rescuing someone.
Gaetano and
Gaetano and Eve
D'Souza, who are breakfast hosts or something.
So yeah. Someone was kidnapped and Makmende was and like it was far out there, but in terms of concepts, that for me was the thing that made, and for us that was the thing that made the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome to Capital Talk, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya. And now, more than ever, I'm Jeff Kananga. Now, on the bench today, as we had been promising you, was going to be Gaetano from Capital FM 98.4. But guess what? We just received word that Eve D'Souza and Gaetano are missing. Can't make it on the bench. Gone, disappeared, possibly kidnapped. What does that mean? It means we are benchless on this day. But more importantly, we need to know what's going on at Capital FM. Where's Eve? Where's Gaetano? What happened to them? Let's find out in the meantime on the bench, where it's all Kenyan, all the time. We're going to get to the bottom of things. So all I can say for now is stay tuned.
But it didn't work as well as we thought. And then suddenly we realized it was a painful decision, a painful lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
You can be viral and still be the most miserable person in the room.
Mm.
And I'm really glad I learned that lesson early. Fame won't give you the sort of joy that you want, particularly if you have no say on it. And the thing about something going viral is that you don't ever expect it will. It's like a virus, it's unexpected, it just spreads. And soon people come and approach you and they're like, hey, so what do you think? And you don't have a say in it because you're still the same dude from the guy before the video was released. How do you expect that we're going to deal with everything and contend with it and sift all that content and, like process it in our heads so that we can. How do you feel about this? I feel very well because of this reason. All of us are still trying to figure out what's going on.
Just like you,
just like us, and just like us, and the good thing and also the problem with Kenyans is that we're able to see vision from a mile away, and suddenly everyone is talking about, are you monetizing? Are you making money off of this thing? Yo, if you're not making money off of this thing, you guys are wasting. This chance was wasted on you, man. How are you gonna not make those millions? This is your chance. This is your jackpot. Oh my goodness. Makmende, it's you. Oh goodness. Man, come take a picture with me. Sign autographs. Makmende took pictures and signed autographs. K1 carried it all with such grace, was never rude to one single person, even when everything was being demanded of him, and even if this viral content was not making us any money.
I'll never forget.
That's the reality of it.
I had a conversation with Blinky, and I realized they wanted the video, but they didn't want all this other rubbish that came with it. You get? But also, when I didn't understand it, because me, I was one of those guys of monetize. Have you monetized your YouTube channel? Have you done this? Do you understand the revenues of all these things? But when I was like, okay, this thing has gotten out of hand, is at the Groove Awards when Chris Kirubi came and he had a red tie.
Oh yeah.
And now I was like,
it was a stupid stunt.
Yeah.
And then like, you see my Makmende tie?
And I was just like,
and like, no. And that's when you realize we don't own it. It's not ours.
Yeah, that's when I was just
anyone
like,
will jump on it. Even Kiss FM started this thing of, are you a Makmende or are you a monkey? Everyone was just trying to jump on it, and Makmende was that if you could answer the question correctly, and monkey was if you got it wrong. So you're like, oh, so it's a Q&A, and if you get it right or wrong, you're jumping on this property to make it sound nini. And
okay, anyway.
I'm glad we learned that lesson then.
Looking back, like I just really, it's a problem of being a pioneer in that sense, because there was no template, there was no, even globally, there wasn't a lot of things that you could look to and say, this is how viral ideas elsewhere have worked.
This is, people, even the word viral, then is when it came.
Yeah. So, and also now in hindsight, when you look at things, we're still not very well set up for viral things to be, and I hated that word so much, monetized. It's like, because everyone would call me or call us with, then how you monetizing this? I'm like, guy, we shot this with 7,000 bob.
We're musicians, bro.
Yeah. And it's like,
or creatives.
We're creatives. It's like, if you have someone that understands that universe, like a dope idea for me would have been, spin this off into a movie, spin this off into a series. That's the idea that makes sense for that big project.
Not an ad into
the ad, and I don't, you know that thing, Nani, that guy, man's not hot. That thing is, says, I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man. I really don't think we, like, even us, we didn't have the facilities for it, and the people around us who even could have had the money creatively were not with us on the same page.
Yeah.
So there was so much mismatch.
Yeah.
And it would have been very easy to make the wrong moves with this beautiful thing. But the cool thing is the idea is still authentic. It's still there. It's still, like, even if we decided like 5 years from now that we're gonna do whatever, it's like, okay, it makes sense, and we have the facilities.
Netflix, are you listening?
We
have
the facilities for this big man. But
I agree.
Yeah.
Then it would have been, even if it was done into a series, then I think it would have even been wasted. I think maybe now is a good time to sort of have that conversation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because it's like, it's still an authentic, like, we did not lose the authenticity of the project and of that universe.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's not something that's died out. It's not something that's not cool, and it's like if you have a good budget for it, man, we can do so many things with it. It can, like, the soundtrack can be insane. It can be like a proper thing. And I'm so glad that we all were on the same page with that.
I like what you're saying. So the family unit still remained a unit and was like, guys, man, we're not about to start. It's not that it brought internal strife. If anything, it brought unity.
It brought unity because we were just like, nah, fam. We work so hard to come up with great concepts, and I hate seeing great concepts executed badly. Like, it's one of my pet peeves. It's like, if we're gonna do something, we do it well.
I get.
Period.
And that was your history.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, and it just goes back to an integrity thing where we need to be like maintain the integrity of the things that we work on. Okay, at least that's my philosophy. There's things that I'm gonna do, there's things I'm not gonna do. Hata mtu akuja na pesa mingi aje, it doesn't matter.
I love it.
Listen, man. Smash, what the? Smash my face in? Smash my face in? You said that whoever took Eve would get his face smashed in. Well, here it is, man. It was me. Do you know what he said? He said, smash my face, smash my... Well, guess what, man? I got Eve. Yeah, me. Taste of danger. I got Eve. Smash my face in. She wants to be with me. You're not rescuing her. You're depriving her of this. Huh? Take Gaetano. That's fine. Take him. Sorry. 1 sec. Yeah. Smash my face in. Huh? It is so good. Joystick, man. Wow. Oh, Absco, how you doing? No, I said I was gonna call you back, yeah. I've been busy, man. I've been taking care of business, you know? Yeah, the child support check is coming through, man. I wrote it. It's in the mail, okay? Where are the women, man? Let the world know that I'm the one that has Eve and that other guy. I am angry. I am completely vexed. Where are the women? Listen to me, Makmende. You know what I want. And I want you to give it to me. Oh, that sounded a bit wrong. Can we cut that? I didn't say that. Huh? Face me like a man. What? We are talking about how Makmende is this awesome guy, this. I'm sorry. Yo, sound guy, what the? As I was saying, I love this stuff. Really, I can't get enough of this stuff, man. First the honeys, then the money. First the stash, then the cash. You have taste of danger, y'all. Oh, we have neighbors, don't we? Sorry. Yes, we do. Come and pick up what's yours, but you're gonna have to rip it out of my hands first. That's all. Zima that thing.